Howdy. Y'all ready to talk about some types? Woo! All right. So I don't really talk like that. People say that they can't tell I'm from Texas. So anyway, yeah, I am James C. Davis, and we're going to talk about using TypeScript in your apps and add-ons. So I'm not going to try to teach you TypeScript. That would be more than 30 minutes, or even how to use TypeScript in Ember. You can't do it in 3 hours. So if you were interested in that, I hope you attended my friend Chris's workshop yesterday afternoon. It's very good. And so I'm not even going to try to convince you that you should use TypeScript in all cases. What I am going to do is just talk a little bit about why you might consider it, show you how easy. I think it's easy to get started. Especially with Octane. Thanks for pointing that out. It's getting easier every day. And tell you where to get help when you get stuck. And I'm even going to be brutally honest and about what you're about to get into if you decide to do it, and so you can be better informed when deciding. So just a little bit about me. I want to know about you guys too, but I can't get to know all of you while on the stage, so find me later. First, I am a husband and father. That's my beautiful wife and kids on the screen. Hi, Lev, Capo, Levi. They're at home watching right now. Dad is on stage. I'll call you after. Anyway, I also enjoy music, listening, playing. I play a few different stringed instruments. I'm an amateur genealogist, avid outdoorsman. But probably more interested in knowing about my work. So I am the front-end lead for the Center for Open Science, which is a nonprofit technology company, and they're trying to do for science what open source did for software. We make a thing called the Open Science Framework. We'll get to it at OSFIO. We say it's a scholarly commons to connect the entire research cycle. It's kind of like project management for academic research. The interesting thing about it is the front end is written in Ember. It's also 100% TypeScript, and it's also 100% open source. So that's the repo. You can actually check it out. In my humble opinion, it's become a pretty good resource for people trying to figure out how to do TypeScript in Ember. And I also have to mention that we're hiring. So if you like what you see, come talk to me later. But anyway, yeah, so it's out there. Our pain is your gain. Just kidding, kind of. So also, I'm a member of the typed Ember team, is I think what we call ourselves. And it's sort of an unofficial team. We are co-maintainers of the Ember CLI TypeScript add-on, which I'll talk about in a little bit. We also do a lot of work on the Ember and Ember data type definitions. I'll talk what those are about in just a little bit. And also working on type definitions for popular add-ons. I think we have a goal, what is it, the top 100 add-ons in Ember Observer. Obviously, we need help to do that, but anyway, so TypeScript. You probably heard all the buzz about TypeScript. People say things like, makes it impossible to write bad code, or no more runtime errors. I even heard if you use TypeScript, you don't have to have tests. No, okay. Slow down. It's not magical. Bad code's bad code, runtime error is still possible. Definitely still need tests. You might not need a certain class of tests, unit tests that check for bad types, but TypeScript will make your tests more robust if you use them in tests. So why TypeScript? ¿Por qué? So one of the things you get from TypeScript is automatic documentation. And so what do I mean by that? So you've probably written stuff like this before. Nice doc block. So there's some redundancy in there. Well, in TypeScript, you use annotations, and you basically get that for free. And in fact, that last Boolean on there is a return type. You don't even need it, because TypeScript's cool. It figures it out. So there actually are tools that will generate nice, pretty docs from your type annotations. Another thing, reduce runtime errors. And I say reduce because we can't guarantee you're going to get rid of all of them. It also depends on lots of things and types and stuff. But let me just show a little example of what that looks like. So here's a nice innocuous function. Looks like arg is some sort of object. You're returning a property on the object. What about this? What happens? Type error. Can I read property bar of undefined? Yep, that makes us sad, right? But that's valid JavaScript. Another one real quick. OK, Baz looks like it's a function. What if Baz is not a function? Yep, that's what it's going to do. More tears. So type errors. What can we do? TypeScript to the rescue. Yes, yes, super TypeScript. Not authorized by Marvel or whoever. Anyway. Also, refactor with wild abandon. Well, maybe not wild abandon, but TypeScript helps with refactoring. If you have really good types, you can change things around, less risk of breaking stuff. And you don't even have to run your tests. You can actually find out right away. If you have it strictly typed, your app won't even build if you've broken something. So what's a type? We're talking about these things called types. So string, number, Boolean. So JavaScript is pretty loosey-goosey about types, you might say. And through the magic of dynamic types and automatic typecasting and stuff, you can kind of use those things all sort of interchangeably. Might be what you want, might not. So, but types get more interesting when you start looking at objects and arrays and things like that. So what's a type? OK, I'm going to throw this up here. A type is a shape. And I'll explain a little bit. So this is a type. Type person. A person has some properties about them of different types. So we could say that's a shape, right? So if I try to do this, say person has a name James. Nope, because I haven't provided all the pieces of the shape. So let's see, what if I do this? James is tall, whatever. Nope, because height is a number. So if you want it to check, you got to provide everything with the right types. Yay, TypeScript is happy. So TypeScript is trying to prevent forcing a square peg in a round hole. But it's a good time to bring up that TypeScript does not actually affect how JavaScript works, because it can't, because it doesn't actually run. TypeScript is compiled to JavaScript. You can't run it in your browser, at least not yet. Maybe one day. There's some, but probably, yeah. So anyway, so what y'all are wanting to know, how do we TypeScript in Ember? Well, there's this thing called EmberCLI TypeScript, and it is an add-on. And what does it get you? Well, it gives you build time type checking. So it actually hooks into your build process. We'll actually do type checking, and you can actually configure it to break your build if your types don't check. Also, editors will give you type checking in the editor too, but this is one of the things that EmberCLI TypeScript. Compilation to JavaScript, not really. Actually, with EmberCLI TypeScript 2, we let Babel do all that for us. With 1, we did use the TypeScript compiler, but it's much faster to just let Babel just throw all the types away. Type definition. So EmberCLI TypeScript sets up, it installs the type definitions you're probably going to need. And it has some smarts. It says, oh, I see you're using Ember data, or you're using QUnit, and it puts the types in there for you. Last thing is blueprints. So if you're going to write your apps in TypeScript, you're probably going to want your generators to generate TypeScript. And so we actually have an EmberCLI TypeScript overrides for pretty much all of the generators. But we're looking at some ways to make that work better. So, anyway, so how does it look like? OK, so we're all familiar with everyone's favorite tutorial app, Super Rentals. So I went ahead and I took this model that's in Super Rentals. Over there on, the left is native class version of the model. And on the right is TypeScript. See the difference? Not much difference. We just added some type annotations. So that's one of the cool things about Octane and native classes is they're pretty similar. This is a service that's in there. It's a lot of code, but basically you just had to add a few annotations here and there. I may have missed some. I think I missed some imports. But basically, don't have to add that much to do it. So All right, so an example. This is a invocation of this rental listing component. That rental model gets passed down, and the component looks something like this. Well, I added, it didn't actually do anything with the rental, so I added something, an alert that doubles the bedrooms and yells at you about it, because why not? So what if I type this? So in JavaScript, you have runtime errors and stuff, but look at this. With Ember CLI TypeScript, we produce a type error. And actually, I think this is really cool. It's syntax highlighted. I think, Preston? I think it is. Well, at least some colors, you know. But it tells you, you did this wrong. It even guesses at what you meant and shows you, actually, it's called bedrooms. So that's pretty cool. So let's see, back to our component here. So city, that's a valid property of rental, but it's not going to work here because it's a string, and you can't multiply strings by 2. It's not valid. It says right there, it has to be a number, big int, an enum, or any, which are things I'm not going to get into, but those are other things in TypeScript. OK, so some frequently asked questions. You're probably wondering, so do I have to convert everything at once? So if I have my app and I'm going to use TypeScript, do I have to just go whole halt? And the answer is nope, you don't. So you can actually just install Ember CLI TypeScript and have no TypeScript. I don't know why you would, but you could. So, but you can move it over one file at a time, which is really pretty cool. So where do you start? So models are a good place to start. Maybe services. Things that are very core to your app that you're going to be used in lots of places. Get the types solid on those, and then when you start typing other places, you'll see the benefits of them. Shared components, maybe. But I'm going to tell the dirty little secret, which is that there is no type checking across templates yet. But Chris is going to figure it out. So then, like, shared components, yeah, definitely be. They're something that's used all over the place. But what about add-ons, you say? I haven't said anything about add-ons yet. So how does that work? So if you write your add-on in TypeScript, does the apps that use it have to also be written in TypeScript? Nope, they don't, because we'll precompile them to JavaScript. So sure, that helps you out. You wrote it in TypeScript. But what if other people want your types? Well, TypeScript does something pretty cool, which is it can actually emit JavaScript and the types in something called a type declaration file. And you would include both of those and publish them to NPM. And so then you get TypeScript benefits for everybody. So your TypeScript app users would have the types right there. And actually, a lot of editors and stuff can actually use the types. You remember we talked about documentation, and they can actually give you better autocompletion and types and stuff like that. So writing add-ons in TypeScript is very cool. So pain points. So it's a new syntax, new language, new concepts to learn. So type definitions. So I mentioned those earlier. So those are a way to have types for things that are not written in TypeScript. Once you get into, oh, sorry, I'm one behind. Once you get into writing your app, you're going to need type definitions for all the add-ons and stuff that you use. And so your choices are go find them. And where you would find them, there's a massive mono repo called Definitely Typed, maintained by Microsoft, that publishes type definitions for all sorts of things. I have no idea how many they have in there now. It's a lot. But what if the package you want is not in there? Then you end up having to write types yourself for at least the API surface that you use. So that could be a pain point. Also, type definitions for Ember and Ember data. So those are also currently maintained and definitely typed. So Ember's changing. keeping them up to date. They're not always exactly in sync and things, but they do pretty good. So if you want to learn more, you can go to the repo, github.com, and we have a great new doc site. We just started using Ember CLI add-on docs. And also, the Ember Discord, Ember Community Discord channel, TypeScript, is a great place to get help. I hang out on there, Chris, lots of other people that know about it. And that's all I have. Thanks.